Hi, this is Ravi, and this is my podcast channel, productlists.com. Um, Last month, I quit my day job and I began my entrepreneurial journey. And when I did that, I promised that I'm going to be sharing my entrepreneurial journey with all of you because it's good to share. I'm learning a lot of lessons in this journey, and I thought sharing this occasionally would be a nice thing to do, and that's exactly why I am starting it today. It's been a while. I had promised to do it weekly, but I don't think I have the bandwidth to do it weekly. But I always keep notes of everything that I'm learning, so I batch them together whenever I feel that I have enough meaningful content to share with the audience here. So today I have been meaning to talk about what does it mean, what does it take to quit a 9 to 5 job, especially when you have done it for at least 2 decades. Yeah, so I'm not trying. The first thing that comes to my mind is many people who say that they are doing entrepreneurship. They usually do entrepreneurship or they try entrepreneurship for a couple of years, and and they go back. Okay, if things do not turn out to be good or successful, they eventually go back. But I must tell you that I have burnt my bridges, so I have burnt my boats, so there's no going back. So I'm going to I'm going to be never going back to my job ever again. Is my commitment, and that is something that I wanted to state. So I have set out on a journey. I do not know how successful the journey will be, but this journey is in one direction towards becoming independent, at least for the next 25 years. All right, so that is the commitment that I have for me. So let me share my thoughts on the highs and lows of quitting a 9 to 5 job into full time entrepreneurship. We will call I'll create this series because I have lots of types of content on this podcast. So I will tag this as a playlist called my journey towards 1 million. So my life goal is to make $100 million company before I die. That is my eventual life goal. Is I might achieve it, I might exceed that goal. So maybe a $500 million company. I might royally fail. So whatever it is, my goal for my life is I've created a benchmark for myself is $100 million company. That means a company that generates, it's not valuation, it's a company that generates 100 million annual recurring revenue. So this is my goal. And this series will be my first $1 million. Okay, 100 would be in a long timeline, 6 7 8 years, you never know. But this series will be called as my journey for my first $1 million. All right, so the topic today is highs and lows of quitting a 9 to 5 job into full-time entrepreneurship. So let's talk about the lows first. All right, so this, as I said, this is going to be my first month where I won't be getting a salary in my account ever since I've begun working. And that is the most scarier part. When you don't get your fat check at the end of the month, that's very, very scary. And the faster you make peace with it, the better it is. Um, the consequences are that you start budgeting everything. So there is a sudden change in your lifestyle the moment you you start your own entrepreneurial journey, because when you have the security of a paycheck at the end of the month, even if you become a spendthrift or you make some miscalculated expenses, okay, you buy something, you splurge on something, you can always make it up in the next month. But on entrepreneurial journey, when all the sources of earning income has suddenly stopped, then you don't have those privileges, so you don't resort to impulse buying and stuff like that. So that is the one low. The next low is, no matter how strong you feel mentally, you are always second guessing yourself many times in a day. And the questions, usually there are bouts of self doubt, where you ask yourself, did you do the right thing by quitting? Did you pick the right industry for which you want to build your business for? Did you pick the right idea? There are so many days that you feel lonely and scared of what you have set out to. And you ask yourself these questions: why am I doing what I am doing? And it can mess up your mind. And that is why I have written down my purpose about why I am doing what I am doing. Why did I quit? Why entrepreneurship? I have actually written down my purpose in a document. And whenever I feel lost or I forget, okay, I go and read that document. And this is very personal, because the reasons and the meaning why you're doing entrepreneurship is personal. Nobody else would understand. Maybe your partner, your life partner, again, the most important partner in this journey, because she's the one who's going to bear the consequence, not your siblings who might be away busy with their own families, not even your parents. They are not going to bear the brunt or the consequence of this life choice. So it's your partner. So she needs to understand the reasons why you have set out on this course. So yeah, I have written it down, and there are so many mentors who also always remind to write write down your purpose, because many times you yourself forget why you wake up one day and then you suddenly feel lost, and then you have to read this to remind yourself. The third low point is you slog like crazy. 18 hours a day is a given. And still, at the end of every day, you feel you might not have put in enough effort. You might not have been very sincere. You might not have been very efficient. So you are always self-doubting yourself if it was a productive day or not. When you are in a job, you are not as self-critical as much as once you're building your own thing. And this happens because you don't see perceived progress, especially when you're building something from scratch. Progress will only be visible in 6 months, 8 months, a year sometimes, or maybe more. So there's no perceived progress. There is definitely an input, but there is no output is not visible and perceived. So you're always asking whether what I am doing is the most important thing, whether it is moving the right needle and stuff like that. The next one is, not everybody will understand you and your path and your decisions. There'll be people who will check why you are not making money even after 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. Okay, I was watching a TEDx video of a multimillionaire, and he got his first paying customer after 18 months of shipping his product. So that means he must have spent at least 6 to 8 months building his product, or maybe more. And after shipping his product, it took him another 18 months to get his first paying customer. And then it took another 18 months to get his 1,000 customers. So you see, the when you start, it is painfully slow. But then if you keep at it, and if you have actually cracked the code, you have actually solved a problem, you have identified the problem, and you are actually built the right product for that problem, it eventually pays off. It's like a hockey stick growth. But the initial years are painfully slow, and that can mess up your mind. So it's a game of patience, and that is something that you should be ready for. So these were some of the lows. Let's come to the highs. Okay, and let me tell you, the good news is the highs far outweigh or far exceed the lows. And there's so many that I might not be able to list all of them out here, but let's take a shot. So first one is, and this happened on day one. um, I wake I wake up in the morning whenever I want to. Okay, you might say that, okay, but did you not just say 18 hours a day? Yes, but I decide my timetable. I decide when I feel like waking up, how many hours I want to sleep, and stuff like that. And that has been my biggest win. While earlier I had to wake up early mornings for a busy day to prepare for my meetings the whole day, and yeah, so that is how my schedule used to be. I don't do that anymore. I walk into the gym royally at 9 a.m. when people step into the office at that time. So while people are going to their office, I go to the gym and I'm slogging out there. The other thing that I still remember is the high of writing anything that I want on LinkedIn. Earlier, I had to adhere to the professional code. I had to only talk about my company. I had to pay attention to how I am perceived, because I was a company um, asset. So my words I had to be watchful. I could not be myself. So that was also something that was putting me in straight jacket and constraint. And I am somebody who is very expressive. I would like to share whatever I feel like. And this was the biggest relief because I still remember the first day after my last day at work. I just wrote whatever I felt like on social media, on LinkedIn especially. So that was also a big high for me, because now I'm not accountable to anybody of what I want to speak, where I want to speak, and how I want to speak. The third one is work from wherever I feel like. So in the last month and a half, I have worked from 4 different countries. Yes, I have been on road most of the times, especially for some pre-planned activities like meeting investors and plenty some travel that was already planned beforehand. So I worked from 4 different countries, 6 different cities in the last 2 months. The next one is I have met more people in the last 2 months than in the last 5 years. Yes, that is so true. When you're working for your company, especially if you're not on a sales led role, then you're only meeting your own people. In the weekends, you might be meeting your friends. But here, because of my business, I was meeting a lot of people. I'm meeting mentors. I was meeting people in my industry where I want to get into. I was taking a lot of help. I was validating my ideas. I was meeting prospects, other founders and CEOs. So I've met more people in the last 2 months than in the last 5 years. I've met almost 2 or 3 people almost every day consistently, and even today, I'm doing that. Even today, I met at least one person since morning. So next is I've not just met random people, okay, just about anybody, but I have met influential people. I have met CEOs and founders and serial entrepreneurs from other companies and startups. I've met rich investors. I have met millionaires, and at one point I also met a billionaire. So the lesson that I learned is, no matter where you are in your entrepreneurial journey, okay, even if you have just begun, especially if you're venturing or building something cool or ambitious or aspirational, there are people who will want to associate with you no matter where they are in that journey. They might be far ahead in that journey, but they will give you the respect, because entrepreneurs respect other entrepreneurs. Also, there's a reason for it, right? Because you do not want to disrespect or ignore a fellow entrepreneur, because you never know that that fellow entrepreneur might break out into the next very successful founder. Okay, so you you want to be careful on how you treat other entrepreneurs. So yeah, so that's why you get access to a lot of influential people in this journey. Next one is accelerated learning. That is also a big high for me. You massively learn everything in this journey, because you are completely accountable for everything that you're building. So that means you need to learn about your field, about your industry, about your customers, your prospects. So you're learning every day. There's massive learning, especially when talking to people, reading books, reading articles, and improving, massive improvement, also self improvement, self growth. I was reading somebody scored the other day, and somebody mentioned that entrepreneurial journey is actually accelerated self-development journey. Okay, if you're an entrepreneur, then there is massive incentive for you to improve yourself and learn yourself and become a better person yourself, because and it's also a 360-degree improvement. It's not like one dimension. Sometimes a job can also be growth, but it is usually that growth is in a single dimension. If you're an entrepreneur, your growth is balanced. It's all around, including your personal, because even in person you need to keep your family happy, because if your family is not happy, it will screw up your journey. So you need to be 360-degree improving yourself. You pay more attention on how you are being perceived by the market from potential customers, investors. You try to look more presentable to people. Okay, you pay attention to little things, how you are coming across, how you're speaking, which otherwise earlier you might have ignored, because here it is a matter of survival, right? So because if people don't like you, if you're not coming across as professional, you're not coming across as somebody who is suave, who is intelligent, who is presentable, who is professional, people might not, you might lose out contracts, you might lose out on people. So you're always improving. You're trying to be more, you're learning on your persuasive skills. You are reading more about your sales skills, your communication skills, because you're selling your brand every day. Every person that you're talking to, you're hoping to hire somebody as your co-founder. Maybe you're looking for a prospect investor where you want to create a really good first impression, so that after 3 months when you go back to him, he remembers you with a positive light and continues that conversation. Okay, so you're selling your brand every day. As a result, there is an accelerated learning and self improvement is how I see it. The next high is it's related, which is you grow as a person. So when you meet so many people, potential partners and potential customers, as I said, you're trying to get better and make a good first impression. So you might face rejection, but then you go back to improve and get better and face another client tomorrow. So it's a massive personal growth in the journey. The next high is you become fully responsible for your life. There is no excuse. Okay, especially if you're in a job, earlier your salary was guaranteed if you just stuck to your lane, and if you just stuck to keep your manager happy with whatever is your deliverable. But now, you can't have any complacency. You need to be completely responsible to earn every dollar that comes to your bank eventually. So that's the biggest responsibility. It just makes you fully responsible, because um, yeah, fine, earning your source of income all by yourself, independently, not by joining a job, is the biggest responsible thing that you could that you could do. The next high is the high of building something on your own, and that is unmatchable. To build something on your own, to build on that vision that you have in your mind, um, and going through that journey from scratch is a massive high. Giving shape to that vision, making iterations, making changes, pivoting, knowing all the while that this is your baby, this is your idea, that is matchless. The next high is also what you're building is your own. Okay, it's your own baby, as I said, right? So what you are building today remains with you for long, which is not the case when you're working for somebody else, because when you're working for a company, you might stay with them for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years maybe, but eventually someday you will leave. So that product is not yours. But here, what you're building is your own, is your own baby, and you can decide how long you want to stay with it. Okay, especially the ownership of it is something that you can decide. So that is also a big high, because obviously there could be reasons tomorrow where if it is a funded startup, there are many CEOs who have been fired, but you know what, you still have stakes. Nobody can take away your founder stake. So that's the big high. The next one is, I think, I think this is something that I already mentioned, which is entrepreneurship is the greatest form of personal development. As I mentioned, some founder CEO had quoted this on Twitter. Cool. So these were the highs. There are other highs that I also can um, imagine. Just being forgetting about that. But if I were to summarize this, navigating any drastic change in life, especially something like this where at least for 2 decades you have been in a corporate job, and then you shift gears and build something of your own in an entrepreneurial journey. It is a change of track massively, right? And when you change track massively or drastically, then it needs a gestation period, it needs a transition period to normalize it. I remember when I moved to product management from technical writer. That was also a big shift at that time, and it needed 2 years of that gestation period or transition phase. And after that hard transition time, then it started giving me dividends. It started with getting my first offer as a product manager, and then getting started better offers in better companies, and then getting promotions from product manager to senior product manager, then to the lead product manager, eventually leading to becoming a head of product, managing a team of product managers and UX professionals, reporting to the CEO. So all the good things happened after I managed that 2 years of transition. Similarly, in entrepreneurial journey also, it's a big drastic change. So as a result, it will take at least a year, 2 years to normalize things and start reaping dividends and benefits. So these were some of my early thoughts. Not prepared. I had some notes here, so I took some help from that notes. But I would like to continue keeping such conversations, sharing with you my journey. My next episode would be, what does it take to arrive at your idea? So whenever you're building a business, it starts with an idea, right? But there are hundreds of ideas. There are a couple of ways to do it. There are some people who just know what that idea is, and then there are second set of people who know they want to do a business, but they're not sure what business they want to do or what ideas they want to pick. Um, so I was of the second um, option, or second kind. I wanted to do a business. I knew the industry, but I had not yet shaped what that idea would be. So I'm going to share with you how do you arrive at the right idea, and then the third episode could be how do you find a co-founder. Okay, so how did identified my co-founder? So I have such topics in my mind. There's so much of valuable real life lessons. So this is not, I'm not talking theory here. I'm talking about whatever I'm learning along the way, and I'm going to share with you. Hopefully it will resonate, some of these things. It will trigger some conversations. You can ask me relevant questions. But I thought it's helpful for anybody, to, if they are ever deciding to get into entrepreneurship, to learn from these lessons. With that, thank you so much. Bye bye.